War Eagle Auburn family, it's Wednesday night, which means Auburn Family Night, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum, your comments, your questions, and your calls here on this edition of E2C Network Live, coming up right now. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, our E2C Network family, and even more specifically, our Auburn family. We appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us, spending some time talking about this particular topic in the Auburn family spectrum. That is whatever you want to talk about. It is our Auburn Family Night. We are really relying on you all to dictate the course of tonight's show, what you want to discuss, what you want to talk about. There's football. Spring football is well underway with some news starting to kind of trickle out from that. Obviously, March Madness for us takes a less significant avenue and not as much of an interest peak anymore. But there's some things surrounding that still. Spring sports are in full fling. Other things are happening around everything that it means to be a part of the Auburn family. All of those things are fair game to discuss tonight. So don't be shy. Pop right in and let us know that you are here. Start off by posting where you're watching from. Some of you are already doing that. We appreciate you guys knowing the drill here and getting that done for us. So do make sure you post where you're watching from, city, state, and international. Let us know that you're here with a War Eagle. And then start off by smashing that like button. It does help the stream out, help people know that we're live, helps them know to come on in, be part of a little family within the Auburn family. The phone lines are now open. If you are watching on YouTube, you will see it linked up at the top. Brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. Please do go check them out. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show too. But the phone lines are open. You'll have to be on YouTube to take advantage of that link. I don't think you can access it on Facebook and things like that. But call in. You can be on camera, off camera, all that good stuff. Don't have to show your face if you don't want to. It's not that scary, though. So please do make sure you engage tonight as much as you are wanting to. Thomas is already checking in. Thanks for being here, Thomas, and hanging out with us. Good to see a familiar face already popping into the chat. I can kind of start us off. I think probably most everybody else is... I should say everybody else. Most Auburn fans have at least kind of started to put basketball to bed, meaning that with Auburn losing in the second round, we've done a post-game live stream about it, all that good stuff. Kind of already wanted to move on and move forward to the next. Everybody's talking about transfers, who's leaving, who's not, who's graduating. There's already news about War Ready, the Auburn-specific the basketball tournament, the summer tournament they do every year. They're starting to recruit players such as Zep Jasper. It was a great pickup by them. So we'll get to see Zep Jasper in some kind of Auburn related thing very soon here. But I know most of you are kind of done with March Madness. Is anybody still going to watch March Madness and engage in it, even as an Auburn fan right now? What do you think? Are you watching just to see Alabama lose? If y'all are, let me know. I mean, that's one reason you could definitely do it. Or if you've got interest still in the tournament and the matchup, I think there's value in watching it, even if Auburn is no longer part of the tournament. Devin, good to see you, War Eagle. I feel like we're going to have you calling in a lot from baseball games from here on out. Glad to hear that you're going to stick with it for the March Madness. It is the best sports event, and I would say that this year, and I said that every year before Auburn became relevant in the March Madness discussion frame. It is, especially this past weekend that we just went through, one of the best things in the entire world. I love it. I absolutely love it so much. I've even got friends tomorrow night that are wanting me to go go play some basketball with them, but I'm like, guys, there's basketball on. Why would we go play it when we can sit here and watch the best basketball be played? I'll probably end up going to play, though, because I don't get to do it at least but once a week. So you got to take advantage of it when you can. Devin says, Houston is my champion, and they are still in it. You probably were the smart one. The more I watch the teams play, the more I'm realizing that I should have gone with my gut on a lot of things, and I kind of second-guessed a few things. And, yeah, So Houston looks very good. Alabama looks very good. UCLA looks very good. Who else? I can't think of anybody else that really just looked outstanding to me. I mean, Arkansas is kind of surging, but that's not really that big of a surprise to me. This is Rob. I'm going to have to get used to saying it's Rob and not Sig for life. War Eagle from Fort Still, Oklahoma, my last 2 days, then bound for Poland. Rob, I did not know. I knew you had kind of been updating us that you were actually going to be sent off. So obviously, thank you for your service. But are you? Is it work or are you? I should have found a better way to ask that. But whatever the reason you're going off to Poland, I would imagine we're not going to get to hear from you all that much, right? Which will be sad. Cody is checking in from Opelika, not far from the motherland itself, watching to see Houston in my bracket. My dad's work was going on, so we are still in bracket for my dad's. Okay. We will watch still for our picks that are still in it, and that's a good reason to watch. There are several reasons to watch March Madness still without Auburn being in it, whether you like basketball, whether you love the madness, whether you want to see how your bracket does, whether you want to see Alabama lose. Let's be honest, we're all hoping for that, right? Yes, different contractor training foreign soldiers on the Patriot system. Well, you were doing some important work over there, so please do stay safe over there in Poland. We appreciate that, though. I'm obviously going to be watching the games that start tomorrow, Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And, I think I'll probably at least be aware and cognizant of the Final Four, but probably won't make it appointment television to sit down, but I will watch the championship game. I think most people will on that Monday night. So a week from Monday is when I think it'll be played, if I have that correct. Would have been nice if Auburn was in it, but alas, it was not meant to be so. Have we all calmed down from that game and made peace with it? I know it was hard to stomach looking at those awful, just awful free throw percentages. Well, free throw percentage, because Houston's was pretty good. But I think I've made peace with it. To me, it was a microcosm of kind of the things that did go right and went wrong this season for Auburn basketball. And I'm still thankful for the team. I'm still thankful for what they were able to pull off, the highs that they were able to reach. They made history this year, breaking a record of how long they stayed in the rankings. There were a couple other things that they broke. There were other old personal records. I think Wendell broke the free throws in a row record or something like that. There were a lot of things like that. So it's not one of those years where there wasn't some good things to smile about. Rob says he's liking the UCLA uniforms. I'll be honest with you. They're probably one of the teams, even though I know I kind of watched their highlights and heard people talk about them. They're probably one of the teams I think that's doing the best in the tournament. I haven't really watched probably hardly either of their games. For some reason, it didn't line up well. So I haven't really got a good look at them. Cody says that our first half was amazing. Then it split into disaster. We'll be back next year. I believe in them. And you should. The drama surrounding Wendell possibly transferring was hilarious. Yeah, I mean, that's what Auburn Twitter does. Create drama. Sometimes where it maybe shouldn't be, but sometimes even where there's some making more of it than it should be. So we got our first caller tonight. So let's say hello to Mr. Positivity. What's going on, Kevin?
War Eagle, Cal. How you doing?
Doing just fine, sir. What about you this evening?
I think we will be back in the NCAA tournament next year and win it.
I think winning it's a bit of a step out there, Kevin. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's still a little bit early to say that, but I think you can safely say that we have a really good shot of being back in that. If not, should be in it. To me, I think where the program is at right now, the expectation should be making the tournament and making it past the second round. I think anything below that at this point is a disappointment.
You think Allen Flanagan and Jalen Williams be back?
I don't know, buddy. I mean, I see a lot. And so this is the thing that I got into last year with Jabari and Walker. It made a lot of sense for them to go, but then, as we kind of sat there and waited for them to make their decisions, you could kind of start making the case. Maybe it's still smart
Yeah.
for them to stay for an extra year, but obviously they decided to go. I think there are a lot more things in the favor for those two to stay than it would be Jabari and Walker. I just don't know that we're going to see both of them stay. I
I
will,
think
maybe we will, but for some
I,
reason it feels like we'll get one and one.
I
We might have a little bit of a connection issue there, Kevin. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah, there we go. I think I got you now. You're frozen, but we can at least hear you. So go ahead and say again what you were saying.
I think
Kevin,
will be back.
we'll be back next year. Yes, we will be, sir. How's maybe you can move around a little bit for me? You might that spot you're in may not be a good connection spot.
And I hope we get a commitment on Friday, the running back from Andalusia, Alabama.
Yes. Jamarian, is that right? Burnett? Or I think I've got that right. Fat
Tomorrow,
is his name.
Burnett. Yeah, Burnett.
Burnett's Fat, and I think he goes by Fat as his nickname. Yeah, there was a lot of buzz about him earlier this week. Apparently, he reached out to one of the, the recruiting sites that likes to, have them on their Instagrams to announce, and people are starting to think, well, maybe they're setting up something. So maybe that's the case. Maybe it's going to happen this Friday. It'd be a nice way to kind of kick things off after a very exciting week of pro
Yeah.
day and all that stuff for Auburn football. It'd be cool to have that happen.
Hey, did Cam Coleman visit Auburn yet?
I don't know. I don't actually keep up with a lot of
The
the
wide,
stuff. I
the
don't
wide
keep up with a
receiver
lot of the
from
stuff
Tennessee.
about who's visiting and stuff like that. I really just focus on when they actually commit or when they sign and stuff like that. For me, like I got too involved with all that stuff, and so it's just one of those things that I don't really focus on too much. But I saw that there was a lot of buzz about him in particular, so it wouldn't be surprised me if he was here or not.
And that Ryan Williams
Ryan
from
Williams,
Fairland.
Yep, the wide receiver, the Bama
Yeah,
commit.
he's going to visit Auburn.
Yeah, I think
March 31st.
I think a lot of recruits are
And
now
the
seeing how
8
exciting it is to see this new facility, to see,
and the
just to come
8A
check
game.
things out. Yep, just to come
Yeah.
see things. And so I think it's really, people are really excited about wanting to just check out and see what's new about Auburn, because obviously the bad vibes are now gone and stuff like that. So obviously it's going to help a lot. I got time for one more question. What you got?
Robbie Ashford is a superstar.
You think Robbie Ashford's going to be a superstar? I hope so.
Yeah,
We need one of them to be a superstar.
Because on Facebook, he's having advertisements and all that.
Well, not to play contrarian to what you just said, but I would say that so did TJ Finley. So have a lot of players. Just because they have advertisements doesn't mean they're going to be superstars. But my hope is that I hope whoever it is going to be a superstar on the field, right? But I am really rooting for Robbie, especially just because I think he went through a lot for us last year.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him get a very legitimate shot at starting and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to pull for whoever's going to be quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of finding myself very much in the Robbie Ashford camp, just because I think he did a lot for us in a very bad situation.
I hope I'll see you at the A-Day game.
Let's do it, buddy. I'd love to meet you in person. So come find me at A-Day and we'll talk there, okay?
Okay, War Eagle.
War Eagle, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks, Kevin, for calling in. If you want to call in, take advantage of that link, please do so. We'd love to hear from you tonight. A couple questions came in while we were discussing there. Kyle, what are you going to do if Bama wins the tournament? Cry, 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 cry a whole lot. Because they, alongside us, have never won the tournament, right? Yeah, they'll just be another thing they can throw over our heads. But it's a high likelihood, so you might as well go and prepare yourself for it, right? I think we will. we're going to have some help from things like teams like Houston, especially. I think from watching Houston, after the way they responded after going down to us in that environment, I was very impressed with that. So hopefully, kind of like Zep Jasper, you saw him kind of cheering the coach on in his press conference as they walked by and exiting. I think we should all be, if you are in the camp of, let's make sure Alabama doesn't have this thing to hold over us, you better root for teams like that. Corey's here. Good to see you. Neil says Cam at Pro Day was weird. I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand, I think, what you're getting at. It maybe felt a little out of place, but it's not the first time that former athletes have come to a Pro Day, meaning post their graduation or, a couple of years separated, or at least a season separated from that. It's not uncommon for that to happen. Now, when you have a player the caliber and profile of Cam Newton coming back to do that, it can feel a little odd. So maybe if that's what you're saying, I agree with you a little bit there. I like seeing it personally. I like seeing Cam back. I appreciated his awareness that he didn't want to make, as much as was in his control, he didn't want to make it about himself and did not take questions or meet with the media. I thought that was a classy move on his part. He can't help what the media focuses on, and me. But he can control how much opportunities he gives for people to not focus on them in terms of accessibility and things like that. So yeah, I get what you're saying. It was a little bit maybe just different. Maybe that's what you mean. But at the same time, I think I liked having him back there. It was weird because he already went pro. Well, he's trying to go pro again because he's not pro right now. Coach Freeze did not seem happy with the quarterback play in practice. I'm not shocked by those comments at all. When the common thread was inconsistency, you're going to have a lot of inconsistencies when you've had, well, both these guys have only had one head coach, but you've had three different offensive coordinators, in theory, 3 different schemes. So that's going to present some challenges for consistency in of itself. And yeah, I'm not shocked by the inconsistency things. I would like if we weren't talking inconsistency, I'd be like, oh, we're on to something here. I'm glad he's being, in a loving way, critical of their play and going ahead and set the expectation that we are not there. We are not there right now. Yeah, Dusty, I saw that. Was that, I think it was it Hoke that put the tweet out? I forget who it was. So if I'm crediting the wrong person, I apologize. But I thought I took the tweet as before I watched the interview that he just mistyped that one. But I guess I'm not surprised if we need a little bit of help over there. If you look at who we were returning at the interior defensive lineman position and the people that we brought in, it's a crowded room. And an athlete like that, you want to definitely get him out on the field, right? More Jeffrey Imba is better than less Jeffrey Imba, in my opinion, if he's healthy. Zep is a good example of balance between loving your team, your school, whatever, and loving others. And he took a lot of heat from last week with his comments about how he was rooting for Alabama. I would not have stepped out there and said that, but that's not me. That's not my bag. That's his bag. And so while it's not something that I would have done, I didn't really take issue with it because that's the type of guy I know him to be. I love Zep Jasper. I think he's one of the best representatives as far as I know. And I can tell, and I've witnessed things with my own eyes with him that really show me his character. And so for me, he's one of the best representatives of what it means to be an Auburn man from the things that I can see, that I hear, that I know about him. Cam throwing to his little brother was a good thing. It was a cool thing. I don't know. Oh, this is a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing either. To me, I guess the weirdness comes in with having them both back there together. The more I think about it, it was kind of odd and unique. Maybe there's some of that at play there. WT, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Who was throwing beside Cam? That was Holden Gerner. He got the option to throw to some of the wide receivers that wanted to take reps for the NFL scouts. I think, I say this with abundance of caution because obviously things can change on a dime, but I'm starting to feel like we, as a collective, not all of us, are starting to have that Zach Calzada moment again, where we're just so hungry for information that we're reading into things that maybe not be there. Remember how we all saw the videos, and to be fair, I mean, to myself, I called that out at the beginning. Don't overreact to these videos. And it was right. Not because maybe he's not talented, just because of his injury and stuff like that. Let's not overreact to the fact that he was throwing. Could have been as simple as he's getting less reps in practice right now. Could be. I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons why he threw and TJ and Robbie Ashford did not. It's very easy, and I could go there with you on some of those storylines, but let's definitely not read too much into that, in my opinion. Cam was there to promote his brother. It was weird because he was a pro. The guy has won every award except for the Super Bowl. I mean, it's fine if you think it's weird. I think it was great having him back. Kyle, have you noticed the uptick in issues with players at other schools getting in big trouble lately? Wondering if NIL will backfire. I know. Are we talking about what's his name? Brandon Miller. What's the DB's name that almost flipped? Tony Mitchell. I feel like there's a couple others that I'm not thinking of right now. If you got some other examples, drop them in there. Can you correlate that to NIL? I mean, that kind of stuff was happening a lot without NIL, just getting in trouble. Maybe it's the off season. I don't know. I guess if you can draw a line to it, like a direct line to it, sure. But I don't know that NIL is backfiring in that way. It's backfiring in some other ways. It's already backfired in plenty of other ways. But yeah. I trust in Coach Freeze to field the best team that we can. Well said. I do as well. If NIL keeps pissing off Saban, I'm good with that. I guess I shouldn't say pissing off here. Some people will get offended by that and some people don't. That's probably one of those that I'm going to say more often than not, but sorry if it offends. Jamonta Waller is visiting the Plains Friday, #1 edge rusher in Mississippi. Had no clue about that. Again, guys, and I know that's to the detriment of this channel sometimes. I am not someone who focuses on these guys before they actually commit or sign, stuff like that. So sometimes I'm going to be oblivious to these things, but I do know of like some of the discussions of some of these other bigger ones. Jalen Carter. Because he had that, yeah, to me, that's not an NIL situation. That's just being, I guess I should be sensitive because I don't have all the information. That seems to me a poor choice, and poor choices that were made all along. Yeah. Big Simp in the house. What's going on, sir? Second round of portal opening up. Yeah. So remember, we talked about this a little bit when we kind of opened up spring practice. We got, a closure of the portal for a little bit. It was going to be opening back up. But even outside of it opening, you were going to have, for a lot of the big programs, at least 2 weeks in, if not further, like Auburn, it is spring practice. There's going to be a good idea where people are falling in the depth chart and they're going to want to make moves. This is about the time where Demetrius Davis made his move to go somewhere else in spring practice. Yes, I have that timeline correct, I think. And it's not surprising that you're seeing today Desmond Tisdale, that you're seeing Cameron Brown, Derek Brown's brother. Glad to see that he's graduating, though. That's how you want people to transfer out. They've graduated. They want to give themselves athletically one more opportunity to do something big, and they're not going to necessarily have it here. I love that. And nothing against Tisdale, because I don't know what his story is, his issue or non-issue is, or whatever, why he's leaving. But I do love that Cameron Brown emphatically said, I am graduating and going to be a graduate of Auburn University, and I'm just going to go try something different. Got no problems. I got no problems with Bo Nix doing that. Put us in a bind, but hey, listen, you can't blame him. I love those type of stories. I agree. Kids will just get in trouble. We all did. Did you not get in trouble? I was considered a goody two shoes, but even I still got into trouble times. Saban is throwing shade at Oates. I think I haven't watched that whole interview, but I've watched the clip that everybody, and maybe it's just my skeptical nature these days, but I think people would just read too much into things sometimes. However, I think there's also an awareness by Saban. How can you not be aware? And I think maybe subconsciously, at least, there was a little bit of an acknowledgement of what's going on there. I do know, and I think it's clearly evident that Nick Saban showing up to practice to congratulate and wish the team well today at practice, and they just so happen to get pictures of it. The PR team, you want to talk about the biggest loser out of all of this is the PR team, the SIDs over there at, well, I shouldn't say the SID specifically. Whoever's handling PR for Alabama athletics right now, that may be some of them. It's a struggle right now. And there's some clear things that are being done that are way too behind the eight ball. It's like they're on their heels and can't get their feet set solely on the ground. Devin says it's funny how everyone is so high on Freeze, but then can't believe that he is giving TJ time. Either you trust him or you don't. Well, that's just us as fans, right? We think we know best no matter the situation. It's just like the people, and some of you may be watching that are like that. I know some of you personally, maybe not watching right now, that emphatically and somewhat inappropriately kind of went after Coach Freeze without actually knowing the dude. You know, you'll be the same ones in the seats watching him come season time. And no one will call you on that because you deleted your tweets or they're just hidden back in there. So it's just kind of one of those things. Everybody's going to be wishy-washy. Everybody's going to say what they think gets the most reaction or the biggest hit on their tweets. You know, everybody's trying to be the next big thing on social media. It's saucy to say, why is he saying TJ? Because they know they'll get some hits off of that. Let's see. I got a little bit behind here in chat. Let's see. I maybe didn't answer that question. Freeze said last month he would go after another linebacker, interior offensive lineman, quarterback, may have a linebacker on the way. Seen a couple. Yes, I agree with that. So maybe to finish answering that question, will he go after a quarterback now? My answer to this has been the same the entire time. If there's someone out there that makes sense, he'll go after him. I know that's the boring answer and it's kind of the redundant answer, but it's the reality of the situation. I think we as Auburn fans put way too much emphasis on that till it actually happens. And imagine if you're one of those quarterbacks and you're working your hardest to not see that support and see people constantly focusing on, well, we need somebody else. We need somebody else. And unless you're just talking about depth issues, it's gotta hurt your feelings a little bit. And yeah, look, suck it up, Buttercup. I get it. We're a little better than that. And I'm not saying that you can't be excited about that and want to see something like that. If the best quarterback in college football, just for whatever reason, decided today, I want to come to Auburn, you think I'm not going to be pumped about that? Of course I am. I think we just need to find a happy balance between being open to whatever opportunities present itself, but also being supportive of our guys. And I think some of us don't do a good job of that at times, me included. That's my TED Talk for today. Saban's acting like Coach Cal at Kentucky. Maybe not that bad. Maybe not as bad as that, but yeah. Tate Johnson was having a great spring when he gets hurt again. Kid can't catch a break. Yeah, I know that was the talk. I'd be interested to know what people said, where they're getting that information from, like that he's having a great spring, like where the visuals behind that. Not taking anything away from him. I've been rooting for the kid because, again, I think another guy that was put in the situation that was a bit rough last year, needed somebody to step up when you lose your starting center. And maybe he didn't have the best time all down there, but he was at least serviceable. And to see him maybe move over to guard and earn a little bit of playing time there would have been a cool little storyline. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks when that happens to guys. Hey, Auburn needs to fire Freeze and hire Bobby Petrino. No. No, no, no. Gag, gag, gag. Bobby Petrino better never sniff near my Auburn Tigers again. I will become like some of those people with you, Freeze. Not that bad, but I will not be a happy camper if Bobby Petrino finds his happy butt anywhere near Auburn again, unless he's playing us. Why wouldn't TJ get a shot if he's on the team? Yeah, look, everyone gets a legitimate shot, right? Coach Freeze said itself, and it's cliche. All positions are open. There's no depth chart, all that good stuff. And that's kind of how you want it to be, especially in spring. I like it because if TJ leaves, then you do have to go get a transfer quarterback from the transfer portal because you will need the depth because then it's Robbie Ashford, Holden Gerner, and Hank Brown as the legitimate non-walk-on situations. Thomas says he's going to A-Day. It's going to be a good weekend, Thomas. We're going to meet up in person. We're going to make it happen. Neil's just trying to make me gag tonight. I listened to the experts and have the worst NCAA bracket I ever had. Shame upon me. Well, I hope you didn't listen. I hope you're not saying I was an expert and you didn't listen to me because that would correlate because I am having the worst bracket I have ever had. On the way to the first round game for Auburn, literally in traffic in Birmingham and just listening on the radio to my bracket being destroyed by Princeton beating Arizona. Literally, utterly. And it was not a great start that day, but I said, you know what? Now I'm just here for the chaos. Even if it messes my bracket up further, give me the chaos of March Madness. Oh, so he said it specifically. I actually have not had time to watch the whole press conference this week. We got a lot of stuff going over here at E2C Network Central with some house stuff. So it's been hectic trying to stay afloat of things. Like today, I wasn't able to do hardly anything except a few social media posts. Cam Newton has a year left at Auburn, just saying. Yeah. Don't think that's how it works, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? Should the quarterback with the most reps on A-Day say something in terms of who the starter is? It's easy to go there, isn't it? I don't know. It's hard not to go to that place. It's a good question. You know, my go-to response to these type of things is don't read too much into it, but my suspicion is what you're going to see happen is you're going to see the three main ones, TJ, Robbie, and Holden, come out there with equal time, and then maybe based off performance. So really, if you're seeing somebody else, more often it's because of their performance thus far. And I kind of like that. It kind of leans into the you can earn. There's no depth chart. You can earn your spot, your time here. I hope that's how it happens. I want to see equal time to start off with if someone has a better couple of reps or sessions, let them stay out there, no matter who it is, even if it's Hank Brown, and see what happens. There are no experts when it comes to brackets. Yeah. If you're an expert in brackets, I want to ask you a lot of questions because you are an expert in a lot of different things. You told me Arizona would lose. So clearly you were the expert, though. Kyle, I confirmed our baseball question the other night. Once you sign NIL, you can't go pro until you play 3 years. Thank you. Thank you for doing the legwork on that, sir. So what Dusty's referencing, we were talking about baseball prospects when they arrive. Is it similar to football or is it like basketball? They can go, earlier, but NIL is at play here, which is what he's referencing. Once you sign NIL, you can't go pro until you play your 3 college years. So there you go. Question answered. Willie Torbert. Willie, have we seen you before here? Maybe once or twice. Good to see you, but thanks for being here regardless. He says, # Opelika Bulldogs. Auburn High, baby. I never graduated from there. I'm happy to have anybody here from Auburn and Opelika. They're all the same people to me. It's probably not true and probably not what y'all wanted to hear. But anyway, what is your honest opinion of the football season for this year? If you're asking for me a opinion way out this far, you're not going to get a fun one. My kind of go-to response with this is always I expect 8-4, and I set that as the standard, and then I kind of shift it forward or backward based on what we're seeing and hearing. So it'd probably be a good thing to say I'm going to start off at 8-4. Based off what I see in spring play, I might shift it back one. My anticipation is I'm going to probably shift it back one, just out of safety precaution for my own health and my own heart. But we'll see, right? So you have been here before. Good to see you. AU is a lock for a 6-6 for 2023. Well, that means we're going bowling. Take it. In a first year, I will take it. Just make a bowl. Hey, listen, we have taken some hits over the last few seasons, and those hits don't come without consequences. So, yeah, I would expect us to maybe probably have a few bumps along the way, especially when you play in the SEC West. Now, the great thing is that Hugh Freeze is going to probably have a quick turnaround on this offense, at least scheme-wise and what you throw out there. A lot of our harder games are at home, so it sets up very favorable for a first-year head coach, which is probably why you saw more than not many reasons, but one of the reasons they made the switch when they did is because they knew this coach would have a good chance to kickstart himself in the right direction, whoever that was going to be when they were thinking about it. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how everybody's opinions of that changes. My guess is everybody's going to get all hyped after 8A. Oh, we're going to go 10-2. Maybe. That's what I'm hoping for. But no. Yeah, I think what y'all are misunderstanding each other is he's talking about if NIL is at play. And that's the part I was unaware of too, is how NIL affects all that kind of stuff. So what he's referencing, what we were talking about, he's correct. NIL does change when they can go pro, which is a good thing for us, right? Y'all want to see Ike Irish out there batting like he's cooled off a little bit. And that's saying something because that man was red hot. But thankfully, you're having a lot of other guys be red hot right now, too. Bryson Ware. Justin Kirby's still in the background doing his thing. I wouldn't call him red hot, but he'll smack one out of there, or get a double here and there. You know, I'm calling him old reliable right now. And then you'll have either Kaysen or Bryson or Ike just be on a tear for a little while. Problem is not Auburn's offense in baseball. It's pitching right now. But I hope that'll get better. I really do. I am missing Hayden Mullins. We did have a conversation with Hayden Mullins not too long ago, and at that time, he did confirm that he was going to be sitting out this season and hopefully be back for the next. But I don't know what the update on him is, because he did get drafted, but I would imagine it didn't really amount much to that came to much. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him since we interviewed him, but we'll see. Good question. Everybody else, you can offer opinions too. Who's Auburn's MVP for baseball? Well, right now, if you're talking about what we know right now, post Arkansas series and this game against South Alabama on Tuesday, where we won, kind of where we're sitting at right now, I think it's it's not as easy as a case as you might think, but I think Bryson Ware is probably going to take the cake right now. That's my opinion. I think you can make a case for Kaysen. You can make a case for Ike Irish. You can make a case for a lot of guys. But, that'll probably change. And that's a good thing for Auburn, that we've got so many guys that are stepping up right now. Let's see. I would say who's Auburn's in. Oh, were you asking in the biggest sense? Like in the who's the name of baseball? That's Frank Thomas. That's not even a question. Now, if you want to go deep cut, Jimmy Hitchcock. I mean, there's a reason it's named Hitchcock Field. Jimmy Hitchcock. We got Bryson Ware vote. We got a Ike Irish vote. All valid votes. All valid votes. But if you were asking in the big sense, who's their MVP of baseball, it is the Big Hurt. He clarified it was for this year. Yeah, I hope you know that one, Corey. The big ones for Auburn baseball history would be Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, Tim Hudson, Greg Olson, Jimmy Hitchcock, and I feel like I'm forgetting. Josh Donaldson's probably going to be there at some point if he continues the way he has at the major league level. That's another one. You know, even though he didn't finish his career right, I think that's true. David Ross, with his success and variety of success he had at the MLB level as a player and now as a coach, I guess maybe not success right now as a coach, but he's got kind of a fondness there too, but not to the level of those other guys if we're talking about that. Bo Jackson. Well, I mean, yeah, there is that. That's true. If you're going to throw the Bo Jackson card around WT, then you probably win that category. I know y'all are reprimanding me now. Thomas says reports from practice aren't good when it comes to the quarterback position. They are inconsistent, throwing inaccurate passes on air with no defense. Thank you for clarifying that for people who didn't know that. Saw a lot of people talking about that phrase. Who is your transfer portal or graduate transfer pick? I'm boring about this, Thomas. I'm riding with the guys that we have right now until something else comes. I was told 2 to 3 weeks ago that there was some legitimacy behind Grayson McCall coming post spring. I just haven't heard enough since then, and that was a reliable source, very reliable source, to back that up yet. So if it is true, it's a well-hidden secret. To me, it seems like if that happens, and if that's going on behind the scenes, that's a guy who really wants to be here, and I like that. So that would be my pick to answer your question. Right now, I think Auburn's in a place where it needs guys who want to be here, want to be part of something new, special and new. I think that's going to go a long way more so than finding the perfect quarterback right now. How many injuries have we had? Tate Johnson and Malcolm Johnson are out for spring practice. The more concerning one is Tate, especially he had his elbow previously injured, and he has another one now, but we don't know if it's the same, unless you guys have heard if that's confirmed or not, if it's the same or a different one. But if it's the same one, that is concerning. I would imagine there's a lot more bumps and bruises and things like that, but really it's those two biggies that they have talked about. So you're picking up what I'm throwing down. Gotcha. Yeah. The wildest story out of practice is Robbie scrambling during a perimeter drill. I didn't get that one. WT thinks Grayson McCall will come this fall. Yeah, I think it's something that had a lot of heat, died off, and I think if true, and that's the plan all along, we will start to see things that hint that way, meaning post-fall, a decision by TJ. Maybe a decision by one of the younger guys at quarterback. I hope not. My hope is, I'm not saying that I hope that Grayson McCall's not coming. That's not what I'm saying, but or TJ's leaving or anything like that. I am really, I know it's lame. I know it's the boring thing, but I am rooting for these guys. I think they put up with a lot since they've been here, and I'd like to see their story end up a different way, much like a Jason Campbell type story. Very much. People forget how lamented he was. Like it hurt my heart as a teenager to see people lament over Jason Campbell. And not to say that some of the criticism wasn't warranted, but boy, were they wrong about him. Find a way to get him to school. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they're trying to get him, they're going to try to find a way to get him to school. But there's also a part of me that doesn't want us to be so focused on one guy and then it doesn't pan out, or he gets in. Even worse, if he gets injured. And so it was going to work out and you put all your eggs in this basket, and then, you pushed off a guy like TJ Finley, who, yes, I know people have their issues with him, but he can at least be a serviceable quarterback that you need either to start or in depth position. So, all three quarterbacks brought by Harsin. Will we be surprised if he missed on these evaluations? I know you're saying that tongue in cheek, Dusty, or at least I think you are. But I'll recall, maybe it wasn't you specifically, but people similar were very applauding of his away. No, probably wasn't you actually, but people who have this opinion now were like, "Oh, look at his trajectory and his opinions and his valuations of quarterbacks. He knows how to recruit and evaluate." And now how times have changed just after one bad stint. So, look, I'm not going to dog somebody for being picked by Harsin. I think that's unfair to them. For me personally, and I'm not saying that you're necessarily saying that, but I'm just kind of ready to let the whole Harsin thing go. Yes, I know that they were brought in by him, and you can't change that. But I'd like to see what maybe Hugh Freeze can do with these guys in a special way. Maybe, at least that's my hope. I don't like it at all, but I think when the season starts, I think we lose TJ and Holden. So, if I hope in that thinking, you're thinking that we brought in someone like a Grayson McCall, so that would make your lineup then whoever that is, and Robbie, whoever wins the job, and then Hank Brown and the backup. So I guess you could make it the season with that, but we saw how injuries can stack up last season. Are you comfortable with really two quarterbacks who are ready to go? No offense to Hank Brown, but it's his first year, and we saw how Holden looked in his first year. A little bit of a wide-eyed, right? You could say I just Oh, wow, that's good. Everybody give Dusty a hand. That is good stuff right there. The message of the show by Dusty. So I'm going to do a deep cut here. I've been doing something like this for a long time with E2C Network. We just never figured out the format. I was convinced YouTube wasn't going to work. Boy, was I wrong. We used to do it on Facebook. And one of the things that we would do on there is I would pick a comment of the show and it would get put up there the entire time. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that on here, actually. Can I? Where'd it go? It's not. Oh, I guess I gotta hide it first. No, it won't let me do it. Anyway, it used to let me pin it to the top and leave it there for a while. I guess this kind of is what that is, but and then I would just let them be honored the entire thing. But that would be the comment of the show. Well done. Well done. Well, and see, the one thing, Devin, is people need a scapegoat, and so it's easy to have that be the scapegoat right now, and in some ways, rightfully so. But my gosh, you want, and for no offense to some people in the media, but some people just need to. They're a little infatuated with hating on the guy. I'll be slightly more comfortable when Walker White gets here. Well played at Dustin. I think you get the high marks from everybody tonight. Yeah, when Walker White gets here, that'll make. So that's the interesting thing about this season. And I've been I don't know if you guys are aware of this. My friend Mark Rogers, who runs the Voice of College Football, I would say website, but also YouTube channel, actually network, because he's got several channels. He does an SEC show every Tuesday at noon Eastern for about, I think it's 2 or 3 hours. And I usually try to appear on his show. He's have an open invitation in the first 30 minutes or so there, just because that's when it works out for me. And we've been talking a lot with him on there. And, I told him, I'm sorry, I sound like just on repeat here, but I don't know what to make of this season. The history with Auburn, it tells you we will bounce back quickly. But it's hard to believe you're going to bounce back that quickly. So to me, I think there's a lot of signs pointing toward that second year being the really exciting year. But I don't think that I think we're going to have some exciting times this season, especially with the schedule being the way it is at home. Don't think that this team won't put something together workable by the time that Iron Bowl rolls around. And boy, howdy, if a Coach Harsin team in his first year can nearly take the mighty Tide down at home. Imagine what a Hugh Freeze team might be able to do. And just because it's Hugh Freeze doesn't mean anything, but just imagine. Just imagine. I would hire Doug Barfield before I'd bring Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino. I cannot tell you. I have personally, I don't know Bobby Petrino. I have no ill will meant towards him personally, but as a person associated with my athletic program, no. So glad that is not a common theme anymore. Dusty says, Walker seems like an awesome kid. He's all in on recruiting his class. It's all he did on his visit Friday. And that's what you want to see in the leaders, not just at quarterback, but like your first guys on board. So you've seen Amon Lane do that. Why am I blanking on the other kid's name? Somebody help me. Somebody help me. You want those guys. Braden Joyner did that for us, right? You know, by most standards, people were not really hyped about Brandon Joyner because he was coming from our own backyard, but I think he should have been. But he was a big guy in helping staying solid himself and keeping that class together. These guys, I think, will be the same way for you. Yeah, and if he'll stay on them, maybe so, right? Thomas, that's a big boy playing quarterback that can scoot. You talking about Walker? Is he really that big? I can't even remember. We did his video like, oh man, how long ago was that? 2 months ago now? I do get the feeling that we're going to be making some recruiting videos here very soon. So I think y'all should be saddled up for that. By the way, I got a random questions. I like to workshop things sometimes here. And by the way, normally we go to about 9 o'clock. I don't have to necessarily go anywhere tonight, so I can hang around. But if you guys we've kind of hit everything, we'll start wrapping up. But hang around if you'd like to. I would like to ask some of y'all that are active in the chat right now. Do y'all watch YouTube Shorts or shorts in general, like Reels, Facebook Reels? I know some of y'all look. I know the TikTok's kind of taboo, but you know, as a media content creator person, I cannot not investigate using that. So we do a lot. But do you guys ever watch the short things? What I'm getting at, do you watch them? And you've seen us try to do some of those things. Like, what do you want out of those? Do you want like quick news updates? Trying to figure those things out. Walker White is grown. He says 6'4". He's 6'3", 200. Yes, you will, Kyle. Very, very soon. That's what I keep hearing. Let me put it to you this way. I was so sure that we were going to get somebody commit about a month ago. I had the video made. It may already be ready to. I got to get it prepped, but I may get to use it soon. It would be funny to see Jimbo get pushed out by Bobby. Don't put it past him. TikTok is evil. Yeah. I mean, I know, and I somewhat, I don't know if you're being completely serious, but like the whole thing with TikTok, I get, but unfortunately, as a content creator, I have to check those things out. Don't watch shorts. Do not do TikTok either. I think short form video is lame. Well, I wish the entire world had your sentiment, because it is taking over the world by storm. I mean, there is no way for me to not be in it somehow. But like, I guess my question, even if you don't like it, I would appreciate if you guys would watch those of ours. If you're subscribed, that shouldn't be a problem. Those will pop up. Make sure you got all the notification things here on YouTube. But like, you know, I thought like bigger or short news stories that are under a minute that we could do a quick pop in, say hello about, and go from there. That maybe don't warrant necessarily making a whole video about. Yes, I am. You found me out. You got me. And I'm not shocked. What I know, and I've got to know a lot of y'all better that are here currently. What y'all are saying doesn't shock me. And I don't mean that as a mean thing. I'm just curious if anybody else is kind of opening up to the idea of shorts. But I can tell you, just based off some of my, even outside the Auburn space, creator colleagues, if you ain't getting on the short video bandwagon, you are falling behind fast in finding ways. So I am constantly tweaking things and trying to figure out when and how to do these things and what's too much, all that stuff. Corey says, I watch shorts all the time. Maybe. It is not ready, but I do need to go back and I filmed it maybe about a month ago. I was going away for a weekend and I was convinced it was happening. And I was like, I can't be that late again. So I had it ready to go. Like I was so ready. All it needed to be was edited. So it's sitting in the edit cabinet. I need to pull it out and kind of get it ready and dust it off, so to speak. Yes, I do. That's what I hope you guys, even if you don't like shorts, watching the short, literally anything that we put on the channel. The biggest thing to do is watch it, even if you don't have the time to then come back later. But if you can do it as early as possible, that's the biggest thing, is how well a video does early on is a big thing. I know it seems stupid, but hitting the like button and dropping a comment in there. That's why we encourage you guys for this giveaway that we're still doing to do that as well for that. But I cannot explain how important that is. Didn't YouTube mandate that creators have to make them? No, I missed that memo. I missed that one. Let's see here. I need an entire team. Trust me, I do need someone alongside me. And look, so I know we're kind of getting into the weeds, not as Auburn stuff, but I hope you guys find this fab when we can get back to discussing some Auburn things here in just a second. But there are people that are volunteers alongside me. So, you've heard a lot of the podcasts. So like AJ and Jared and Chandler and Jace and Auburn Elvis and Jessica, my wife. Clint, Clint doesn't do a regular podcast anymore, but he shows up a lot. Austin would fall into that category too. There are, and more. I'm probably leaving somebody. Jared, did I say Jared? A lot of people that I'm leaving out over the years that aren't even doing things for me. But I do need someone that I can pay, but the money's not there right now. There's someone, if he's watching, knows exactly who I'm talking about. Actually, two of them, but y'all can fight over whoever. They're not watching right now. I know that for a fact, but they may watch later. That I'd love to be able to pay them to be part of my team one day. All right, jump over here real quick. I'm so nervous for our draw in gymnastics. We are going to have to beat Utah. It makes it a little scary without SUNY, doesn't it? But you should take away the encouragement of seeing what happened in SEC championships. First of all, without SUNY, and if I recall, Darian didn't have like the most outstanding night. I mean, she did good, but not the most outstanding performance she ever did. Cassie Stevens stole the show, especially was an SEC co-champion in one event. It's the third one in program history, I think. So this team's got talent. You should be nervous, but you'd also be hopeful that that can come to fruition. Kyle, I designed an entire line of Auburn shirts over the last week. Did you really? Awesome. Hey, by the way, we are on TeePublic. That's where we sell our gear and stuff. I might change that outlet, like where we sell them. But for now, if you put it on TeePublic, or if you're going to plan to put on TeePublic yourself, if you'll let me know, I'll send you a link because we get a kickback for referring people. What's going on with softball? I don't really know. Unfortunately, this is what always kind of happens with me personally. You get invested in baseball and softball, and then, gymnastics and basketball specifically kind of take the lead of interest again right there at March Madness. And so you kind of lose that grip on everything for about 2 weeks. And I can't afford to do that with baseball anymore. So I haven't been really honing in. Here's what I can tell you that I'm pretty sure went on. They ran into the SEC, just like with baseball. So, yeah, look, they can bat really well too. We know that. Very similar stories with Auburn baseball and softball. And we'll just, I know they don't have a midweek game this week, but hopefully they were just not good starts and they'll do a lot better. Is she not going to compete in the postseason? Devin, I don't get the feeling that we're going to see SUNY. I'm not, how do I say this? I've had discussions with people about some things that make me concerned that we won't see her, and I don't see anything. If you remember, she posted something, I'm missing this recently. That to me, and again, here I go reading into things after I tell y'all not to. That to me oozed of, I wish I could be there, be involved still. I don't know. You designed the war dust. Do you not like my design? Oh, wait, that's what I meant to do right there. We should discuss a tailgate event, tents and shirts. Listen, I love. We're going to try to do those again, one of those again someday, someday when it makes sense. The problems that become is what I like to do and what I like to do on game days. It doesn't lend itself for me being in one spot for a long amount of time, so it's hard for me to do that. But one day, my hope is when I live in Auburn, we can afford to do a little less of that, and yeah, we can maybe do some meetups and stuff. But for now, meet me at Tiger Walk. It's guaranteed to see me every week, outside of me being sick or something. I missed this one here. Where'd it go? You should do a tailgating show during football season to show the food during football. I've thought about that. So I have a creator friend who literally, he always talks about it in front of his screen. He's got his wall of ideas and stuff. It's just like a, web of things. And I don't have that, but it's right here. And I've got some things like written down, jotted down everywhere. I can't tell you how many, like, to me, they're great ideas, but to what would go well for people, all kinds of stuff just like that. The big issues for me are time, money, and location. The biggest thing that I have working for me right now is time. And I still don't have a lot of it. There's just, I don't know if y'all know in the economy, we're hurting on YouTube. I can guarantee you we are all hurting on YouTube, especially compared to what we used to do. Anyway, I've lamented way too much about that. You're talking about the program overall and waiting, but it hasn't happened. Well, I don't know how long you've been following softball, but they really weren't that relevant that often before Clint Myers. So it's not like, I guess if you're wanting to come back to where Clint Myers is, I don't know. What they went through with that scandal, that's kind of hard to break away from. And then you had a pandemic about the time. Maybe there was some momentum getting there. To me, Mickey Dean has them competitive every year. Maybe not as competitive as we'd like them to be. I just kind of like where we're at right now with them, and maybe another year or two. But let's see how this year goes first. But if, has enough success, as long as we're competitive, it feels a lot to me like Coach Karen Hoppe, who's our most tenured person right now. And even though they had a down year, she's kind of warranted. Her body of work shows we're still in good hands there. Shoot, we need an E2C BBQ. Love that. Love that. You think SUNY needs to take care of SUNY? I agree. She's going to. And she should. Yes, it does come down to planning. But where do I plan that in amongst all the other things that I'm planning? That is the biggest thing right now. I am not trying to. I love the idea of getting together with some of you. The biggest thing too is we're still a small operation. You guys, you can see the numbers tonight on YouTube, and it doesn't bother me. That's why I still do the show, because I love you guys. You guys are the most loyal people here, and I appreciate the guys and ladies that can top in. We've got a lot of competition out there, and so there's really demand has to drive that too. Because if we put these things together, people got to show up, and we put meetups before, and we've had 1-2 people show up. And not that it wasn't special, it's just reality of that. We're talking a lot of behind the scenes stuff tonight. That's what happens when I can stay longer. Dusty pork butts and chicken. Some smoked baked beans. Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Are you in the kitchen right now, Devin? As long as no one cooks chitlins. I just don't know that I can get around chitlins. Not me. All right. What haven't we hit tonight, if there's anything? One thing I'll give you guys a heads up, since we've been talking a lot of E2C logistics stuff. I think most of you know that Austin's wife is pregnant, and I think I can share this. I hope I can. I think he's talked about it on the show. I won't say any moment, but it could be any moment. So we will still do the podcast, the Auburn Experience podcast on Sunday nights while he needs to be out. Don't know how long that'll be. I've got some familiar names and some other people lined up to come in and talk with us to kind of take over the co-host seat for a few episodes at least. And I think you'll enjoy those people. We will take off Easter, I believe, at this point, even though that will be right after 8A, and I will hate that, but it just makes a lot of sense because that's about the time that them babies should be here too. So it just, with him being out and stuff like that, but just don't think when he is on dad duty, doesn't mean necessarily that we're stopping stuff with that. What does Auburn basketball recruiting look like so far? A lot of names. And if you're on Twitter, apparently your job is to get out there and tell them to come here. Seen a lot of that today. Basically everybody trying to get them to come there. I think there's like somebody had an official list. Who was it? Jay Phillips, that guy on Twitter, who had like made a official, somebody had official list of like people that had been contacted by Auburn. So if you're interested in that, just look up Auburn basketball official contact list or something like that. You'll find it on Twitter. That'd be a good, but nothing solid yet. Nobody's, as of this moment, transferred. We know who's graduating. That's really all we know at this point. So there's not really anything big to talk about, solid to talk about. You're wrong for that. I hope Austin sees that. No. I'm just, I'm glad that Emily, his wife, allows him to still be on the show while she is dealing with pregnancy. Because I can imagine sometimes that she'd probably rather have him by her side than letting him hang out with me for about an hour each week. And that will change soon. But we enjoy doing that show. So, okay, we'll do some more workshopping here. Maybe a last bit of stuff here, and then we'll kind of start wrapping up. One thing that we are thinking about doing, and you'll know that we do the Auburn Experience podcast, and I've told you guys a lot on the show, off the show, that is our flagship show. That's what we want our show to be centered around. That's the go-to content that we want you guys to really lean into if you can. Be there for the live streams, watch it, listen to it, share it out when we share clips about it. If you guys can help us really lean into that, but we're probably going to be switching our name to E2C Network, the Auburn Experience, rather than Auburn Family Content. That's something we're playing with, thinking about. Not saying it's officially going to happen because I may change my mind, but I think we're going to. So if you guys hate that, don't like that, let me know. I'd always hoped that E2C would become so recognizable I wouldn't have to put some type of Auburn tag with it, but I think I still need to. So I think that's what we're going to switch to. So if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Glad you enjoy it. I enjoy Austin, and I got connected through Clint, and we've really hit it off. I mean, I hit it off. Well, I hope I hit it off. I think I do with a lot of people and our guys, but Austin and I seem to have a really good kind of connection on the way we think about things, which can be bad too. If you think the same about things, it can get kind of boring. We have some differences, but I value his thoughts and opinions about Auburn stuff, but other things too. So he makes a good co-host. So I'm glad you guys see that as well. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Devin here. I'm not sure about that one. Adding another member of the Auburn and E2C family is beautiful. I just don't know that we need to see it. If only they knew we were talking about them right now. If only. All right, let's start wrapping up the show, but get last minute comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals in right now. Don't leave it off the table. We're going to go ahead and close down the phone lines tonight. It was good to hear from Kevin tonight. It's funny. Last week we couldn't stop talking to people. We got one tonight. That's fine. It's all good. But let's keep going through some of this. Next scheduled live stream. Oh, Kyle, you messed up. I had the cue card ready. I wonder if I can do it real quick. If I can pull it up real quick. Everybody just stand by. Just stand by. Don't ignore the awkwardness between here and there. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I found it. Here it is. Episode 29 as it continues to load this Sunday night, as we just talked about. Don't miss it. The Auburn Experience Sports Culture Family. Be there live. You can listen on the podcast apps afterward if you'd like, or watch the replay of it, but we'd love to have you live there. We have many shows like this before and after that where we can hang out and talk a little bit too, because that's what this is all about, hanging out with you guys. That's the next scheduled live stream. You can be a subscriber. You can be a channel member. You can be a Booster Club member. You can check out all the links in the description for ways that you can help support us here at E2C Network and help keep the lights on. And I know I brush over that a lot, but that is, if you guys will from time to time consider doing some of that. So many of you are Booster Club members, channel members, or both, and that is very much appreciated. It keeps the lights on here at E2C Network Central and keeps me being allowed to do the things I can, even just watching the videos and stuff. You guys are the best, as always. What else here? A lot of discussions about birth here. Only on this show will you go from talking about Auburn football spring practice to the birth of another Auburn family member and almost in too much detail. Only here. And that's what makes this so special. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight, hanging out with me, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Hope to see you this Sunday night, live, 9 Eastern time. Tell a friend, get them there, force them there. I can't advocate for that, but I guess I can. Thank you guys, though. I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Until then, War Eagle.